I don't think you've got a typical volunteer, really.
I think it can be anybody. Anybody can volunteer.
Someone in open-toe sandals.
Like a tramp.
Someone who look after other people.
Yeah. Someone who's willing to help.
Someone that's friendly.
Volunteer.
Working Wonders is Arts for Islington's first project, and it's a project using the arts to celebrate the contributions volunteers make to Islington's communities. So the volunteers we've been working with are Davina, Pete, Elaine, Claire, Guldrin and Essin, and Joan. Davina had the experience of working with a drama professional.
This is a story set at Halloween. We're in a dark wood. You look around, you can see the trees.
But just after I came out of uni, I thought that I needed to gain some practical experience, like of working with people and working with young people. And so I think it was, I found out the IPA, Islington Play Association, and it kind of just led me in this direction, and I found out Priory Heights. Well, they got me into contact with Priory Heights, and I came down for an interview, and I liked it, I enjoyed it. And then from then I just kind of did 2 days a week. We did an adaptation of Cinderella during the summer, which was the professional practitioner that I was just talking about. We worked together, and we worked on it, and it was really good. It was very, very good. It was quite hard though to begin with, because they hadn't really done drama in this environment before, and because it's a play environment as well. So the space was quite loud, and there was loads of things going on. And me and John, we hadn't even come yet, and the kids were there, and they were rehearsing their lines, and they put on their costumes. We did the performance, and parents watched it, and the play workers watched it, and everyone really, really enjoyed it.
Elaine is another volunteer at Union Chapel.
I started volunteering about 2 years now. It could be sort of 2.5 years, and it's only for 2 hours a week. And I quite enjoy it, and it gives me something to do. It gets me out of the house. Plus, with volunteering, you meet all sorts of people, and I think you become more, trying to think of the word, not judgmental. I've worked with people that do respect me, and so therefore it's not just I'm coming in to do nothing, I'm actually doing something that's worthwhile.
Elaine also is developing skills as a comedian, and will do a piece of stand-up comedy at an event we have planned to take place at Union Chapel.
Well, I've wanted to do stand-up comedy for about 16 years. Somebody years ago suggested that I go on stage, and I suppose I'm a bit of a show-off, number one pose, I don't care, I go in there, I'm on the dance floor.
Sing it back, bring it back. And you look at this woman dancing and you're thinking, hold on a minute, is that what I look like when I'm out dancing?
Tonight is a creative stream is brought to you as part of the Working Wonders project. Working Wonders is a series of arts-based events that are celebrating people who volunteer throughout the borough. Fiona, who's organised the creative stream, who many of you may know, she volunteers like mad.
Anybody volunteers at time. I'm not sometimes in the money and the resources, the equipment. So yeah, I do this in my spare time. It's good to get a different audience who may be interested in getting involved. We wouldn't be able to reach otherwise without Working Wonders.
Joan discovered she liked drama and set up a local amateur drama group.
My image of a volunteer is someone who's friendly and bright and kind and capable and wants to help people and doesn't think of themselves, thinks of other people. I do voluntary work in the local community centre. I do the minutes and secretary of the management committee and help make the tea at the tea dance. I think you need to be reliable and always sort of going to be there and not take something on that you can't finish. And I think you get a lot of reward from it. feeling sort of everything's a bit worthwhile and like opening up new horizons. I think if you do things for other people, it does come back, and people do things for you. Not that you do it for that reason. Well, when I first heard about the Working Wonders project, it was because our community worker, Bob, around in our community centre, he said he put me forward as a volunteer. I didn't really know what was happening until I spoke to Izzy. And then she explained what was going to happen. I thought, I don't know if I really want to take part in this, because, it sort of says what it's sort of like recognition of what you've been doing. I didn't really want to go through all that, and I thought, it'd be stupid not to take part in this Working Wonders project, because it's going to affect my drama group, and we can perhaps move forward and learn a lot from it. So Izzy said that she would get a director for us, and so this director had written a play called Who'd Want to Volunteer, and it seemed just perfect for us that we could perform this play.
With Claire, we met her and the Peter Pan Park Action Group just at the time where they were about to have their formal opening for the park.
It started off as a kind of loose meeting of, generally at the time, parents with tiny children who, when you've got small children, you spend your time roaming the streets or sort of vaguely standing around street corners while your child bangs a stick against the fence or something. So it became obvious to all of us who lived in this sort of quite broad neighbourhood that this park would be wonderful if we could actually use it. But every time you went into it, your child either fell off a sort of 7-foot sheer wall, or got covered in dog poo, or cut their hand on broken glass, and it was sort of such a blatant problem. So we have my group have succeeded in changing it and making it into this lovely, open, accessible space that is really it's really energised the neighbourhood. We see Working Wonders as being like arts practitioners that can add some sort of excitement and a kind of very particular viewpoint of what this space is, almost as though as a sort of objective outside viewpoint. Izzy came to the opening party and brought a photographer who took some absolutely gorgeous, beautiful, fantastic photographs, which we loved because they were very subtle, but they really summed a lot of things up. It's quite inspiring that you can make relationships work incredibly well if you sort of want to bring out the best in one another.
And when we first met Pete, the youth music project was already in the 3rd or 4th week. He's been very instrumental in using his professional contacts with Radio 1 Extra DJs and bringing them into workshops with young people. And when we were talking to him about what type of event he'd like to do to celebrate his achievements as part of the Working Wonders project, he said he'd much rather the resources were channelled into the youth showcase that he was planning.
But I wouldn't take on a project of that nature unless I had somebody like Pete there. Pete is absolutely integral to the process, in that he very much guided, what music we were going to use, the kind of workshops that we were going to run, and what he was going to teach in terms of event management. All of that, every aspect of the project had Pete's kind of seal of approval, and without that I wouldn't have brought it forward, because it would have failed, because it wouldn't have been kind of genuine.
I got involved from an events management angle, and it was just 14-16 weeks of teaching the kids how to actually put an event together. And at the end of it, the aim was for them to put on their own event. So the events management team, I sort of taught them through the basics of marketing, promoting, and that type of thing, really. What I saw, I was quite confident that the event would have gone ahead. And been a really good event, which it was. So I wasn't too concerned with regards to whether things would go wrong on the night or not.
he's a good understanding of their background, and that's extremely important in any kind of project. You've got to really know the people that you're working with, and Pete certainly knew them and got on brilliantly with them. They love Pete.
I've spoken to several of them, and they were pleased with their performances and pleased with the outcome, and several of them actually quite missed the project.
These are the pictures are from the day where you made an opportunity for some of the young people on the project to go to Carnival.
That is really, really cool. Thank you very much indeed. Grinning like a Cheshire cat.
With Essen and Gulderin, Working Wonders seems to have met them just at a time where they were ready to expand their horizons. They'd developed a very successful support group in the King's Cross area.
I asked to start, why not to establish for Turkish group, and they said that it was a wonderful idea, and then they supported us. I think this is important thing for me, for children, doing something for children here, especially here. Because our children is between two languages, in two cultures here. I'm feeling very confident myself. Now I'm not only mother, I'm doing everything for my community and for myself as well.
The project gave them an opportunity to think about what they've developed so far and where they'd like to go next, as well as a moment to just celebrate with their community all of their achievements to date.
We've got two things planned for you this afternoon. First of all, there's some forum theatre, and one of the differences between, you may have been to the theatre before, and the actors are on the stage, and as the audience you just sit and watch and clap at the end and go home. This is different because we need you to participate and get involved for it to work.
I think today is very well. Yeah, everything is going well.
It was fantastic, actually.
They're the kind of people who get up and do things rather than sit and watch the telly. That would be my overall impression of the volunteers we've met through the project. What we've tried to do is we're both creating some resources that can be used to promote volunteering, such as the website and the documentary, that will continue on beyond the life of the project itself. But also, in the case of each individual volunteer, we've tried to invest some resources in the person themselves, in developing the skills that they were using as volunteers, so that those gains remain in the borough and remain in the communities that they're part of.